Elon Musk's explanation becomes clearer when the logic behind this prioritization is examined more closely, because it is not based on intuition or ideology, but on structured reasoning about cause, effect, and scale. He approaches the question of what problems matter most for the future by reducing civilization to its essential operating conditions and then asking whether those conditions are stable, improving, or at risk. This logical process eliminates distraction and forces attention onto root-level constraints rather than surface-level symptoms. In his reasoning, a problem matters most if it influences multiple downstream outcomes simultaneously and continues to compound over time. If a challenge affects the base layer of civilization, its impact grows exponentially, whereas problems that exist at higher, less fundamental layers remain limited in scope and duration. Musk's logic does not rank problems by how visible they are, but by how deeply they are embedded into the system that supports human progress. He repeatedly stresses that progress is not automatic. It depends on whether the foundational inputs required for advancement are secured and improved. When those inputs are neglected, stagnation or collapse becomes a rational outcome rather than a surprise. This is why his explanation remains tightly focused on long-term structural stability instead of short-term optimization. He views the future as a sequence of compounding decisions where early misjudgments can lock civilization into unfavorable paths that become increasingly difficult to correct. From this perspective, the most important problems are those that shape optionality, the range of possible futures available to humanity. If optionality narrows, freedom of choice diminishes, regardless of temporary prosperity. His logic insists that solving surface-level issues without addressing underlying constraints creates the illusion of progress while leaving the core system vulnerable. Therefore, he argues that intellectual honesty requires confronting the hardest, most fundamental problems first, even if they lack immediate rewards or public enthusiasm. The reasoning remains consistent throughout. Problems that determine whether humanity can continue advancing deserve priority over those that merely improve conditions within a fragile or unsustainable framework. By applying this logical filter, Musk's explanation avoids emotional bias and focuses entirely on long-term outcomes. It is not a rejection of present needs, but a hierarchy that places survival, resilience, and scalability above all else. In this framework, choosing the wrong problems to focus on is not a neutral mistake. It actively diverts energy away from the challenges that decide the future itself. His logic, therefore, leads to a single conclusion: the importance of a problem is measured not by urgency today, but by consequence over time. In conclusion, Elon Musk's explanation of what problems matter most for the future resolves into a disciplined and uncompromising standard for how humanity should think about progress. His message is not abstract or rhetorical. It is a practical framework for deciding where attention, effort, and intelligence truly belong. By defining importance in terms of long-term consequence rather than immediate visibility, he shifts the focus of responsibility from reacting to the present to deliberately shaping what comes next. The future, in this view, is neither accidental nor guaranteed. It is the direct result of which foundational problems are confronted and which are postponed. Musk's explanation makes it clear that progress without durability is fragile, and innovation without direction is insufficient. What ultimately matters most are the problems that determine whether civilization can continue to expand its capabilities without undermining its own existence. This conclusion reinforces a single, lasting insight: choosing the right problems is itself the most important decision humanity can make. When attention is aligned with survival, resilience, and long-term possibility, progress gains meaning beyond temporary success. The power of this explanation lies in its clarity. It removes distraction, strips away short-term thinking, and leaves behind a simple but demanding truth. The future will not be decided by how busy humanity becomes, but by whether it remains focused on the problems that truly define its fate.